Hello friends, I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark, and I had a whole other Who Remembers video idea I started writing the script for, but then my awesome cousin, who I mentioned got me into one of my favorite all-time games, 7th Legion, gifted me the original Backyard Baseball from 1997 on Steam. So I'm dedicating this video to him, and all ad revenue will be going towards a crisp high 5. Other than 3D Pinball Space Cadet, Solitaire, and Minesweeper, this was the first PC game I got to play unsupervised at my mom's. I don't remember who gave it to me or who convinced my mom to let me have it, but I do recall putting hours into this game after school, probably restarting season after season, because I didn't understand the concept of a save file for a while. I honestly think that picking players for your team was the most fun part because I thought the kids' biographies were funny and some had weird shaped heads. And I loved hearing Pablo talk that sweet, sweet Espanol to me. Backyard Baseball is the first installment of the Backyard Sports franchise, where they later released Backyard Soccer, Football, Basketball, Hockey, and Skateboarding, which I did not know existed until the writing of this video. I'm only covering the Backyard Baseball game in this video and focusing mostly on the 1997 version because that's the first one I had experience with growing up. There are later years that expanded upon the original with more parks to select and even adding child renditions of real MLB players in the game that would also grace the cover. But on October 10th, 1997, Humongous Entertainment blessed the world with the first Backyard Baseball game on Mac and Windows. The more I reminisce about this game, the more I wonder what miracles were performed to get this game in my possession, because my mom did not know how to install things on the computer, and I'm pretty sure the jello-for-brain child that I was couldn't figure it out either. Regardless, the CD-ROM was in the computer, and I was instantly hooked. I didn't know much about baseball, so forget about me messing with any settings, but they do exist. Firstly, there are 3 modes: pickup game, league play, and batting practice, all of which are pretty explanatory, but I'm going to explain them anyway because I like to hear myself talk. Pickup games were one-and-done games against the computer, where you took turns picking kids out of the lineup to play on your team. You then play a game of baseball, wonderful, America's pastime. Games could be set to 6 or 9 innings and difficulty change to your skill level. There's even T-ball. League play has you pick 9 players from the 30 available and lead them into a 14-game season against 7 other teams to be the very best, like no one ever was. Placing in the top 2 of your league sees your team playing against the other top team for a chance to advance to the postseason tournament. Winning the best-of-3 series in the Super Entire Nation Tournament has you playing for it all in the Ultra Grand Championship of the Universe. So no pressure, kids. Secondly, who are these kids that have been subjected to other parents berating them for missing a fly ball or not being fast enough to reach a base in time? Well, I'm glad you ask. These 30 fictional children are split up evenly between boys and girls, and their skills of batting, fielding, running, and pitching are meticulously scrutinized by the 4-ball system. When I was a kid, there was only one stat that mattered, and that was hitting home runs, baby! I did not add a player if they had anything less than 3 baseball skills worth of batting. Hitting the ball is the only way to score points, and home runs are the most efficient way of doing such a thing. So, Mikey Thomas, Jocinda Smith, Ahmed Khan, Keisha Phillips, Maria Luna, Pete Wheeler, Tony Del Vecchio, Stephanie Morgan, and of course, no team is complete without a secret weapon. Or should I say, the secret weapon. Pablo Sanchez. As mentioned before, Pablo doesn't know English, and you probably don't know Spanish. And if you do know Spanish, you still can't talk to him because he's a video game character. But you can communicate with him through ball. Whatever you need him to do, he's got it covered. Except pitching. I let Kenny Kawaguchi do that. After playing for a while, I learned there was more to baseball than just hitting the ball. The fascinating part about baseball, to me anyway, is that players play both offense and defense. But it isn't fast-paced like soccer, basketball, or hockey, where play is continuous. Also, there was no time constraint on a game of baseball. Theoretically, an inning of baseball can go on forever. And something about the idea of infinity in a simple game makes my mind spiral out of control thinking about it all. What have we done? Have we gone too far? Are we mere mortals playing a game meant for the gods? And knowing the strengths and weaknesses of each is what makes you a good enough coach to get yourself into the Ultra Grand Championship of the universe. Thirdly, there are crazy and fun power-ups the player and CPU get to use while batting and pitching. I brought up Kenny Kawaguchi before, and he's one of the best pitchers. If you pick Kenny, you're picking him for his pitching. He has a 4-ball stat line on pitching. This affects the window size of the pitch and his juice box stamina. The pitching power-ups greatly reduce stamina in the pitcher. At this point, I'd advise picking a player that is at least a decent pitcher to close games, if games are running long. However, there is a power-up that restores stamina in the form of a juice box. Nonetheless, these power-ups are tremendously helpful for getting out of sticky situations. If you're facing a tough batter with numerous players on base, then maybe go for a strikeout. Give them something they can't even see, let alone swing at, with a fireball pitch. You could also play mind games with the batter, as what looks like a nice and easy slow ball freezes just before reaching the strike zone, making the batter swing early with the big freeze. The zigzag, corkscrew, and crazy ball will have the batters cross-eyed and seeing double when they don't know where to look. The slow-mo starts off normally, but slows to a crawl, either making the batters swing early or put them to sleep. The elevator is a ball pitched so low to the ground, it looks as though it's rolling along until it reaches home plate and quickly rises in and probably through the strike zone. If breaking the laws of physics isn't your thing, then how about blatantly breaking the rules by doctoring the ball with a spitball? The batter isn't all hopeless against these insane power-ups, as they have some of their own. The aluminum bat is almost a guaranteed homer if contact is made. The screaming line drive is difficult to catch and will get you at least a double, if not lucky enough, for a home run. The undergrounder buries the ball and makes it travel underground into the outfield and popping up somewhere randomly. This often results in a ground rule double. Then there's the crazy bunt. This makes the ball have a mind of its own as the fielders try to catch it. All the while, circles are being run around them by the ball. Although, I feel like this usually results in a foul for me and a triple for the CPU. Of the 4 special bats, of course my favorite is the aluminum bat. Call me Marge, the way I be lovin' a homer. More power-ups were added in later games, but I'm not covering those here because I don't wanna. Another appeal to the game was the unique baseball fields that you could choose to play your pickup games in. All of these make me reminisce of playing at random locations with neighborhood kids, each with their own idiosyncrasies. Steel Stadium started out as Ernie Steele's backyard, with home plate closest to the house because you don't want to be hitting baseballs towards your own house. The fence line and shed make the outfield into a shape that to me resembles a heart and is supposedly the smallest field in the game, but I have no evidence to support this. I remember always trying to get home runs into the pool, even though there was no splash. I just thought it was a cool accomplishment. Ekman Acres is another kid's backyard. This time, Kimmy Ekman is kind enough to allow 2 full baseball teams to play at their house. A very square field with a low fence and hedge in either outfield, making for some long but not impossible home runs. Playground Commons is what a classic neighborhood baseball diamond looks like. Probably paid for by property taxes, this stadium features real bases, chalk lines, mound, dirt, and grassy infields and outfields. This field is a left-handed batter's nightmare, as the right field is lined with a tall chain-link fence. The left field has a small wooden fence between it and a playground. This is the part of the video where I just want to say a huge disclaimer that I am not a huge nerd when it comes to baseball like I am football. So I think, from what I found, left-handed hitters are more likely to hit it into the right field, and right-handed hitters are more likely to hit it into the left field. Let me know if that makes sense, and if that's correct. Like and subscribe for more baseball breakdowns. Dirt Yards is as simple as its name states. just an empty, undeveloped piece of land in a commercial area, as evidenced by the "Will Build to Suit Tenant" sign on the side of the building covering half of right field. The building makes homers for left-handed batters quite difficult, while left field is completely open, a dream for right-handed batters. Sandy Flats is a beachfront diamond that slows down players and the ball once it's on the ground. Not the most ideal place to play a game of baseball, but when it's a nice day on the beach and there's ball to play, then I guess you gotta play it. Probably the least batter-friendly park is Tin Can Alley. The outfield is lined with buildings that go off the top of the screen, making it pretty much impossible for home runs without the help of the aluminum bat. Unlike Steel Stadium, where hitting the shed counts as a home run, if the ball gets stuck on top of the trailer in the outfield, the game counts it as a ground rule double. This may also soft lock the game as batters wait on base and the ball is never returned to the pitcher. Cement Gardens is another alley doubling as a baseball stadium, and there is not a single plant that I can see, not even grass. Some garden. This outfield is also mostly buildings that go off the top of the screen, but there are places to hit homers. Straight in the middle of center field, there is a small fence between the buildings that one can hit it over. In left field, there is no fence. I don't know where exactly the line for a home run is, but I'm sure if you hit it far enough, it'll count. What doesn't count is the open dumpster. Getting a ball in there is cool, but only counts as a double. Parks Department Field number 2 is not a selectable field in the original game, but it is where every season game takes place during league play. This is much more representative of a, field funded by the Parks Department of a municipality. It includes a symmetrically fenced-in outfield, painted baselines and batter boxes, a true pitcher's mound, bleachers, and even a jumbotron that follows the ball throughout a play and replays of home runs and in-between innings. In Backyard Baseball 2001, it finally became a selectable field. If your team is good enough, then they'll be able to play in the Super Entire All-Nation Tournament at Big City Stadium. This stadium boasts twice the seating of Parks Department, a bigger screen in center field, and actual dugouts for each team. Once you best the competition in the semifinals, you'll truly be putting your team to the test in the championship. Super Ultra Championship of the Universe Series at the Super Colossal Dome. This is the big leagues. Well-manicured grass, raked sand, spotlights, and a much greater seating capacity than any other place you'll ever played. This is where champions are made. So let's meet who those champions can be. Now you have to remember that you only get 9 of these future MLB Hall of Famers to choose from, and in order to help make that decision, let's meet them. Billie Jean Blackwood, aka Crazy Legs, deeply loves fashion and anything French, as her dream is to become a model in Paris. She's the tallest kid in the league, which makes her a good choice to play first base. The problem though, she doesn't catch very well. Ernie Funny Bones Steele is known to be quite a jokester and tall. He's excellent at fielding with 4 out of 4 baseballs in the skill. His player card states he'd be a good choice for second or third base. Ricky Johnson, or otherwise simply known as Fella, is a very shy kid, but makes a pretty good all-around player as he has a great feel for the game and good coordination. Jorge Bonkers Garcia is apparently the 7th richest child in the world. His player card tells us he's a good ball player, but he is the definition of average with his 2 out of 4 baseballs in every stat. His depth perception is supposedly off, and thus does not like playing in the outfield. Lisa Crockett, but probably better known as Mad Dog. No one knows much about Mad Dog, but they know she's all business with a mean left hook. I can only assume they're talking about baseball pitching here because there is no backyard boxing game. Yet. Pete Wheeler reminds me a lot of Patrick Star from SpongeBob. Wheelie here is the fastest runner in the game and one of the best batters. Get this kid on your team. Keisha Flash Phillips may be the neighborhood clown, but she takes baseball seriously. Her speed and coordination make her another easy choice for a championship winning team, especially when she's put in the outfield. Jocinda MVP Smith is definitely an above-average player with great batting and fielding. She's on the slower side of players, so personally, maybe a good pick for first base. The Weber twins of Ashley and Sydney are confusing enough being identical, but then throw in the same nickname of Little Smoky and all hell breaks loose. Get them on the same team and they can be pretty good together. Dmitry Paste Petrovich is smart and technical. He is a solid player that doesn't make many mistakes. I've heard he's also got the hook up for some great baseball cards if you're looking to trade. Do people still collect baseball cards? Sally, the Boss Dobbs, can be a great leader for any team looking for a decent captain. I'm not sure why her player card says she's a hot shot on the mound with 2 baseballs worth of pitching. Marky Cootie DeBoy has a frog. I think he'd really only be good for getting like a sacrifice fly because the kid would lose a race to the frog in his pocket. How he ever caught the damn thing with his speed is beyond me. Maybe he got Pete to catch it for him. Between their 2 brain cells, I'm sure they could devise a plan to catch a single frog. Tony D, Big T Del Vecchio, thinks he's the best there is in the league. The player card tells me he'd be a great outfielder with his cannon of an arm. Annie Frazier, aka Flipper, looks to be another top choice for any team, so long as she's not pitching. The player card suggests putting her at catcher. Ahmed, the Axeman Khan, loves shredding his guitar. Always has headphones on, so probably won't hear anything you tell him. However, he is always my second pick immediately after Pablo Sanchez, as he's almost always good for a home run each game. Stephanie Bubbles Morgan knows ball and knows how to play it. She comes dressed for the occasion, primed and ready to play shortstop, easily an above-average player, but doesn't excel at any one thing. Gretchen Jabberjaw Hasselhoff will not stop talking and talks extremely fast. She's a speedy runner, but if she's not pitching, her throwing is no good. Maybe a first or second base player. I also think she'd make a better auctioneer than a baseball player. Angela Del Vecchio, aka Sugar Pop, is the younger sister of Tony, and she is quite the power hitter. But if it's not a bomb, she probably won't make it to first base with her speed. The same is true for her defense. She can be a terrific pitcher, but she can't field. I'd prefer if she could only pitch, like how it is in the MLB, and not have to have her play another position. Allegedly, her stats increase when playing against her brother Tony. Mikey Thomas, aka Nugget. This kid is always sneezing. I thought it was allergies, but the wiki says that it's a cold. For as long as this kid has been sick, there's no way he made it past 2020. However, a stellar hitter and fielder, he is slow, but thankfully there's no time limit for making your way around the bases after a home run. Reese Worthington has the nickname Big Toe, which is unusually cruel. He seems like a dork and is supposedly asthmatic, so he hates running despite having 3 baseballs out of 4 in the stat. Kimmy Twinkie Toes Ekman, and that's the second kid in a row with a foot-related nickname, and I'm concerned. She also goes by the Candy Monster. However, that sugar rush of hers does not help with her 1 baseball running stat. Decent hitter and fielder otherwise. Vicky Swan Kawaguchi is a ballerina. She has sharp reflexes and active hands that make her a fantastic infielder. She is not great at batting, but her small stature could be a problem for pitchers getting into the strike zone. If you can get her on base, she's liable to steal with her 4 out of 4 baseball stat in running. Maria Pinky Luna likes the color pink, and that's her whole personality. She has above average stats across the board except for pitching, which can easily be avoided. Definitely a kid to choose for your team. Amir Sticks Khan is Ahmed's little brother. His player card says that he likes root beer and music, so he's getting primed for his Creed Busch Light midlife crisis. It also advises the player he likes to play in the outfield and to put his brother on the same team. Ronnie Dobbs, aka Spuds, is an average player. He is reportedly 5 years old, and with stats like that, I could see him being a top choice in a couple of years. Kenny K-Man Kawaguchi. He's always my pitcher, no question. Not a great hitter, but this kid can pitch. There's nothing else of note to say about him. Why do you ask? Stop staring! Dante Robinson has the ironic nickname of Stretch. He's gearing up for a big growth spurt, as he can be seen eating a lot throughout games. He kinda reminds me of Heimlich from Bug's Life. He's a super fast runner and a great outfielder. He's a usual addition to my team. Luann Lulu Louie is best known for carrying a teddy bear around with her at all times. The wiki says her age is 4 years old, which is insane because she is easily one of the fastest players in the game. Her batting is average, so if you can get a grounder or avoid your line drive being caught, she's good for a base hit. And finally, the kid who needs no introduction, Pablo the Secret Weapon Sanchez. If he isn't your first pick in a pickup game, then you've already lost. This kid does it all. 4 baseball stat in batting, 4 baseball stat in running, 4 baseball stat in fielding. What more do you want? A 4 baseball stat in pitching? Okay, Icarus, flying a little high there, but how about a 3 baseball stat? And what do you need him pitching for? Did I mention the 4 baseball stat in fielding? He's also short, so the strike zone is a nightmare for pitchers, because you're either walking him to first, or he's walking around the bases after a home run. Get this kid, he's going places, and you'll see him on TV one day and think, he's the son I never had. Even if you have a son, he'll make you forget about him. He's that good. As stated previously, this was the first game in the Backyard franchise. It only received moderate reviews, with 3 out of 5 stars from Computer Gaming World and Mac Home. The diversity and easy-to-learn difficulty were greatly praised, but Mac Home described the pacing as fluid as a drunk trying to walk a straight line. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there are some strangely long pauses sometimes at random times after a play. Reviews for the remaster, the version I will be playing, say that it is identical to the original release, with it being a missed opportunity for quality of life features, yet GameSpot still gave it an 8 out of 10. And if that review is true, I may be able to deploy my cheese strat, and if I can get it to work, I will be showing it here. Essentially, when I'm in the outfield and the CPU gets on base, I can usually do one of 2 things to bait the CPU into advancing a base. One is playing catch with the ball in the outfield between left and center. Eventually, one of the kids will drop it or throw it poorly, and the CPU will try to advance the base. If that doesn't work, then I deploy Old Reliable. I'll give the ball to a player that is not the pitcher, and I'll have the silly goose run outside of the field of play. This always gets the CPU to run, but can be riskier because sometimes when you try to throw the ball, the kid gets butterfingers and spikes it on the ground. And if that happens, just chalk it up to a loss and move on with your life. The music and sound design are pretty good too. Each kid has their own walk-up music. The sounds of the bat hitting the ball are satisfying, and there is constant banter between the players and commentators. Oh my goodness, I forgot about the commentators. There are always the same 2 commentators. Sunny Day is your by-the-book, professionally presented commentator that does play-by-play. And she is partnered up with Vinny the Gooch, who is modeled after the late sportscaster Howard Cosell. I'm so sorry if that is not how you say his last name, but I'm going with Cosell. It might be Cosell Cosell. He gives some of the wildest one-liners in color commentating history, like Pepper Brooks.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And that's an out.
And it's a long walk back to the dugout.
Angela Del Vecchio up to pitch now.
She pitches better against kids who speak French and write poetry verses. And rumor has it, she's not a big fan of Brussels sprouts. Sometimes he just can't hang on to that ball. That little blooper sent him running. Gotta watch your kneecaps on those taters.
Into the motion and the delivery. A long one and deep.
That dog will hunt.
They got another one.
Candy, I tell you. I like candy. Everybody likes candy. That's why Halloween is such a popular holiday. The Gooch likes that. Yeah, give me some more of that.
Up by 8.
Dig those crazy wombats. They are hot today. I'll bet you're all wondering, just what is a wombat? Well, they are furry little marsupials from Australia and Tasmania. So the next obvious question is, what is a marsupial? Well, they're a kind of mammal, usually distinguished by their pouches which are for carrying their young.
I'm impressed, Vinny.
Yo, I've been around, you know. There are moments of glory, and then there are moments like this.
and it was a lefty.
I used to have quite a left hook myself. Of course, that was before the war.
Vinny, what are you talking about? What war?
I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool.
And I know commentators aren't supposed to be biased, but Vinny wears a colored ring that always matches your team's color. He also starts the game with a full corn dog, and by the end of the game, he's eaten it. Apparently, he's distantly related to Angela and Tony Del Vecchio. So small world, I guess. And finally, a small preview for the playthrough I do after the Who Remembers retrospective. I've never not chosen Pablo Sanchez, right? He's the best player in the game. And while I've beaten the game before, I've always had Pablo. So as I was thinking, my initial thought was to beat the game without Pablo on the hardest difficulty, doing 9 innings, the whole 9 yards. Then a more masochistic thought formed into my head. Why stop there? I always choose Ahmed second. I always choose Kenny for pitching. So why not try to make the objectively worst team and put them in the worst positions, never use a single power-up or juice box, and would I still be able to win the Ultra Grand Championship of the universe? So if you want to see that, please stick around by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when those videos come out. Otherwise, I just want to say that I can't thank you enough for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm Fuzzy Viper Shark, just here for fun.
Thanks for coming out, folks.
Peace.